Hello everyone, in this video I'll be translating and summarizing the latest Urdu broadcast by Shahbaz Gill to make it accessible for our English-speaking audience. Let's go through the key developments and insights in Shahbaz Gill's words. First up, in today's most important news, is the statement issued after the Corps Commanders' Conference, which was held under the leadership of Field Marshal Asim Munir. Now, obviously, we weren't present in the conference, nor was anyone else except the generals themselves. So what exactly transpired inside is unknown. But when we read the statement, it feels as if the Prime Minister or President of Pakistan convened a federal cabinet meeting and issued a federal-level statement. There's nothing about it that feels like it came from a military corps conference. You may ask why. Let me share some key points from the statement that will give you an idea of how Field Marshal Asim Munir has already taken full control of the domain and how things are being addressed. The way this statement has been issued, with full consensus from the Corps commanders, makes it feel like he is acting as the head of state, and the others are simply cabinet ministers offering advice, with this entire narrative being issued from a head of state position. Reading the statement, we first see criticism directed at India, accusing it of orchestrating terrorism within Pakistan, with terms like Fitnatul Khawarij and Fitnatul Hindustan being used. The statement was, of course, released by DG ISPR, so the terminology is consistent with their style. India was warned against such actions, and it was pointed out how India is using third-party territories to operate, possibly referencing China, suggesting that India is trying to involve China in its tensions with Pakistan. There's also an indirect hint at Afghanistan being used as a base for such activities. These matters reflect the immediate context, especially since the recent skirmish has heightened nationalistic sentiments. The public is fired up, wants to hear about India, and even see it being taught a lesson. This fuels nationalistic passion, and as a result, Field Marshal and his team start to appear favourable in the public eye. They capitalise on this emotional state. Even when India may not be directly involved in something, its name is now invoked frequently. Just 2 months ago, similar Corps Commanders' conferences were held. At that time, international outlets like The Guardian were publishing detailed reports that India had been carrying out assassinations inside Pakistan. They didn't just report incidents, they detailed how RAW recruited individuals, how much was paid, which country was involved, which person flew in on which flight, and how a Pakistani was bribed with 700,000 rupees, brought into Pakistan, prayed at a specific mosque, and then carried out the murder. Yet Pakistan remained silent. The DG ISPR, Field Marshal, and the entire Foreign Office said nothing. Indian officials like Ajit Doval, Amit Shah and Rajnath Singh openly admitted it. When asked by reporters, they proudly stated they had done it and would continue doing so, even cross into Pakistan to kill. Despite this, no outrage was shown by the Pakistani state. The Foreign Office, military leadership and political leadership remained silent. Only India was speaking then. Now, after the skirmish, suddenly a political narrative has formed. Every press conference by the Corps Commanders or DG ISPR, and as I previously mentioned, Field Marshal's weekly statements are being delivered regularly and with the tone of a head of state. We predicted this over a week ago. Regarding India, there now needs to be an investigation. If we're now acknowledging that India is indeed doing this, and I have said this from day one, I'm not apologetic toward India. I fully believe that India is carrying out terrorism and sabotage in Pakistan and harming us. But I've believed this for many years. What's baffling is why you remained silent for so long, thereby giving India a free hand at international forums. Who will take responsibility for that? Who will compensate for the damage caused by your silence? This must be addressed in some future Corps Commanders conference. Now, moving to other matters discussed in the statement, according to DG ISPR, the Field Marshal briefed the Corps Commanders about recent successful foreign visits alongside the Prime Minister to Iran, Turkey, Azerbaijan, Saudi Arabia and the UAE. He shared the details of Pakistan's proactive diplomatic efforts, what was accomplished and how successful they were. Again, this sounds more like a head of state updating his cabinet. He also briefed them on the US visit and the shifting dynamics in the Middle East. Now you may ask, is it forbidden for the army to deliberate on such matters? No, of course not. The army does not operate in isolation. When tensions exist between Iran and Israel, for example, the army must assess and deliberate on those. It's their domain to understand geopolitical shifts, regional capacities, and military movements. However, announcing this publicly is not their domain. That's the job of the Foreign Office, the Prime Minister, or the Foreign Minister. The army is to assess and inform, but not to announce. Policy formulation is the federal government's role. But in our case, The military directly communicates with the public and the world, as if to say, I'm the one calling the shots. So again, this is a head of state-style conduct through a military forum. Internal security. So in Balochistan's city of Uthal, 2 buses from Punjab were stopped and, 9 passengers were abducted at gunpoint. The attackers had set up a roadblock, and reports now suggest that some of those passengers may have been killed. One victim was travelling with his brother to attend their father's funeral. Now their family fears they may end up burying the brothers too. The surviving brother has actually appealed to Pakistan's authorities to intervene and rescue them. However, this issue really wasn't given much space in the conference. Again, this is a matter for the political domain, Home Minister, not the military. Political engagement and narrative building should be done by elected representatives, not generals. But here everything is done by the military. In Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, or KP, the situation is, frankly, deteriorating even further. ANP-affiliated Maulana Kanzeb was killed in a targeted attack. He was a moderate, critical of both the Taliban and state policies in KP. He wanted peace, not war. His killing enraged the public, who then tried attacking Frontier Corps personnel and even stoned the gates of the Bajar Scouts building. The FC responded with tear gas. So, on one side we have BLA's insurgency in Balochistan, and on the other, Kanzeb's murder in KP and this rising unrest. Drone strikes are ongoing, and honestly, there's widespread confusion about who's behind them, our forces or the Taliban. Now, an all-parties conference is being planned by the KP Chief Minister following a parliamentary committee meeting. Typically, in such situations, the military establishment seeks political backing to stabilise public reaction. That's a legitimate need, but it really does reflect the gravity of the situation after Kanzeb's martyrdom. About Imran Khan, his sister said today that his muscle mass is deteriorating. He's losing weight rapidly due to the harsh conditions of imprisonment. Bushra Bibi's family is also not allowed to visit her, and she's being held in poor conditions too. Clothes and books sent to Imran Khan were not delivered. He has no access to newspapers or any outside information. He is confined to a small cell for 22 hours a day. His sister even said Gulbhushan Jadhav is being treated better than Imran Khan. That's a serious accusation. If the Corps Commander Conference discussed this, it would have been, quite noteworthy, but there's no mention of it. Rana Sanola acknowledged the harsh jail conditions and justified them by saying that Khan is trying to incite movements from prison. So they'll continue being tough on him. Here's what he said. If you're sitting in jail and spreading violence or planning disruption, then the government does have administrative authority to act and apply checks. But we know these aren't minor checks. The more disruption they suspect Khan is plotting, the harsher his jail conditions become. The same behaviour as India, really. Just as Indian officials openly claimed they killed people in Pakistan and would continue doing so, Pakistani officials are now openly admitting their mistreatment of Imran Khan. Lastly, Rangers in Sindh, the Pakistan Rangers, part of the military, have requested 306 more acres of land in 6 districts for operational and residential facilities. That's not a small request. According to official records, Rangers currently occupy 109 government buildings across Sindh, including schools, hospitals and other public institutions. You must have heard, right? A minister from Sindh once said that alcohol was found in Imran Khan's urine. Apologies for bringing up that news, but the news itself was such, what can I say? This person is of the same type. Mentally, he's exactly where that minister was, not a bit different. Now hear what he has said, then I'll analyse it. Every second person in Pakistan drinks alcohol. In big cities, all the alcohol being consumed is illegal. Everyone knows it. I've been to Pakistan, and the situation in big cities is such that if someone doesn't drink, people ask, "Are you okay?" If we legalise alcohol and impose taxes on it, Pakistan can repay its debts. So you heard it. He says every second person in Pakistan drinks alcohol, and those who don't are considered abnormal. That means when Hafiz Sahib visits, Mr. Sajid Tara must be sitting there looking normal, though it's unlikely he can look normal in that context. So, from this I gather that perhaps all the activity happening behind the scenes was presented openly to normalise it. Because his belief is that the only solution to Pakistan's financial problems is to legalise alcohol. Again, I'm not saying alcohol should be legalised. Please don't issue a fatwa against me. Let's keep it limited to this topic. But just look at the thinking of an advisor. He says if alcohol is legalised, all problems will be solved. I'm not sitting here to issue verdicts on whether to legalise it or not. That's their matter. What I am saying is that legalising alcohol won't solve Pakistan's problems. But when your advisors think like this, one starts to think, maybe you think the same way. So we wanted to show you this interesting side. After the Sindh incident, here's this too. Now, the media has started a very heavy wave of criticism. At this time, no one knows whether the list in question is final, but a list is circulating. Let me repeat, this list is circulating on social media, and no one knows yet if it's final, so don't form a conclusive opinion based on it. But it's drawing a lot of criticism. This list includes the names of senators that PTI plans to nominate for the Senate elections in KPK. We are presenting the list. Again, it's unconfirmed because the party hasn't officially owned it. We're just showing you what's being reported in the media. According to media reports, the name of former Senator Mirza Muhammad Afridi was not initially included by Imran Khan himself. It was added later, reportedly without his approval. Let me repeat, this is what the media is saying, not necessarily fact. However, there is a lot of criticism, especially since he was the deputy chairman of the Senate when injustices were being done to Pakistan, and during his tenure, not even a single production order was issued. Other names in the list include Murad Saeed, Azam Swati, and others. One name that is causing concern on social media is of a person named Zishan. It's being said that Imran Khan wanted to make him a senator, but his name was removed. Again, this is what media is reporting, that he is a strong critic of the generals, which is why his name was pushed down and Mirza Afridi's was added instead. The party has not yet given any official stance, but when it does, we will know the conclusive situation. For now, treat this as a social media rumour. Why am I sharing it with you? So you can mentally prepare, do your own research and understand what is happening and who is doing it. People today are smart. You can fool them for a short while, and many are fooled. You may remember, someone from KPK used to show up in court the next day and get bail instantly. He was once a cameraman for Fazlur Rahman, I believe, so people trust these kinds of individuals at a given time. I'll give you an example. This region of ours is a bit problematic in this regard. We quickly get influenced, and we often mistake con men for leaders or saviours. In reality, they are small-time touts launched repeatedly by the establishment because generals need them. But we consider them our hope, a straw for a drowning man. But when a person is drowning and knows they're going down, they don't grab a straw that won't even keep them afloat and ruins their dignity too. If you're going to drown, drown with dignity. These jokers that get launched from time to time, what can I say about them? They go abroad and instead of engaging with officials, they exploit students, make them shop for them, bring gifts and who knows what else. Let's not get into that direction right now. I have a lot of material on that too, which I'll present some other day. The bills, the exploitation, the scamming. But in short, this Khurram Zishan, who is a strong critic, people like him should be at the forefront. He fearlessly presents the party's position. Let's see what happens to him. Then there was a question about the Senate elections. Faisal Karim Kundi, the governor of KPK, was asked how many senators they'll elect. He said 5. The host replied, "But you don't have enough numbers for that. Who will vote for you?" He replied, "Angels will vote for us." So the preparations are already in place. They know exactly how they're going to get their senators elected. Next news, just so no stone is left unturned, the media has been paid 100 billion rupees. Yes, 100 billion has been paid to media. I'm not saying this. Pakistan's own minister and his office is saying it. They know exactly what to say to pull the public in. Emotional, flashy, dramatic words. And unfortunately, the public gets swept up in it. We don't ask for credentials, background or track records. Someone appears on the scene with flashy words and suddenly becomes a hero. They exploit people's pain and suffering, present themselves as the saviour, and people start believing in them. The real tragedy is that we as a society don't learn. We've been fooled before, by politicians, by religious leaders, by so-called revolutionaries, yet we keep falling for the same tactics. People who barely have any understanding or character come forward and become the faces of change, and we rally behind them without question. The system is so broken, so manipulated, that real, genuine people are pushed aside, and those with the loudest voices and least substance are brought to the forefront, often by the establishment, by those who control the strings. These people are not real leaders, they're pawns, and when their usefulness ends, they're discarded. But by then, they've already done the damage, and the public once again is left disillusioned, betrayed and confused. In the end, the cycle continues. The public, desperate for change, desperate for hope, grabs onto anyone who offers even the illusion of something better. Even if that person is a fraud, even if they have no history of service, no integrity and no commitment to the people, we still follow them because we want to believe. And the con artists know this. They take full advantage. They say what we want to hear. They make bold claims. They attack the enemies we hate. They present themselves as victims. They know the formula, and we fall for it again and again. That's why Pakistan's political and social condition continues to deteriorate, because instead of addressing real issues, we keep recycling the same mistakes, chasing personalities over principles and ignoring history's lessons. The path forward isn't easy, and it won't come through shortcuts, emotional appeals, or media-made heroes. Real change requires wisdom, patience, honesty, and hard choices. Until we're ready to recognize that and reject the jokers, clowns, and conmen in our midst, we'll remain stuck in this vicious cycle. That wraps up our translation of Shahbaz Gill's video. I hope this English version helped you understand his message better. Please like, share and subscribe to Awami Lens to help our community grow. Don't forget to leave a comment below and let me know what you thought of this effort.